Hey everybody, this is the Yarn Spinners. On this end, you've got the Yarn Spinner by the name of Tom Knight.
Hey, hey.
On the other end, you've got the Yarn Spinner named Dimitri Williamson. How you guys doing? So, anyway, after a rocking episode 4, and I mean, we've had at least 9 views. It's been... by the way, we're on YouTube. I think this is primarily where we're going to be creating our stuff now.
Yeah.
Our channel is Yarn Spinners. So if you go to YouTube /Yarn Spinners, you should see us there.
Yeah. Presumably they've already found their way there because they'll be listening to this.
Exactly. So it's fine. So anyway,
you've done well.
As always, we start with the day. How have you been, buddy?
Yeah, good. Just been driving a lot today. Lots of driving. So
lots of driving.
Just driving about here and there. Doing stuff, errands. Not a massively interesting day. But how about you? I'm sure yours was riveting.
Yeah, I woke up at 3 a.m.
Yep. Text me at 5. That was great.
Text you at 5. Went to work at about 6 and came home at about 5:30. So overall, nearly a 12-hour day.
Voluntarily.
Completely voluntarily. To be fair, I've got a few assignments to do, so I've been pretty busy at work. But otherwise, it's been good. It's been good.
Yeah.
So
cool.
Yeah, what's as we normally start the show off with what we've been reading about and what we're going to do. So today we're going to talk about artificial intelligence, social media, and renewable energy. Just to throw that in there, we all love sustainability and nature on this podcast. So, we're going to discuss some of the stuff that we love and what we think about them. And hopefully you will reach out to us and tell us what you think about them.
It is what we're yearning for.
Oh.
That magical word of feedback.
Oh, damn. Exactly. So
what would you like to speak about first, my friend?
I think let's go by the program. Let's go social media. Because it kind of all blends in there.
So do you want to give a brief sort of 1-minute intro as to what social media is in your eyes?
Not really.
Okay, do it anyway.
No, but so basically the reason why I want to talk about social media is because obviously it's very prevalent in our lives. It started off as something that was, I think, even something like MSN Messenger was sort of a social media kind of thing where you could hang out.
Yeah,
exactly.
Platform,
and then, my earliest social media memory is Bebo.
Yep. And MySpace.
Habbo Hotel or whatever it was called. And then obviously, I didn't get onto Facebook until it was late, and I'm talking 2005, 6-ish.
Yeah, it was the in thing when we met at university.
Well, what I remember is one of my friend's sisters coming home from university, and this was at about 2004, and we were just hanging out at her place, and her sister came back, and she was the older sister. And she sort of came in and said, "Oh, hey guys, I need to upload some photos onto Facebook." And we were like, "What the hell is Facebook?" And she sold it to us as, well, it's a inter-university social network. Now, inter-university, fair enough. Social network was a completely new concept to us that we just did not understand. And I sort of ignored it because it was like, so what can you do with it? Oh, you just tell about your day, and then you just post some pictures. And it's like, well, that's stupid. Okay. So I ignored it, and then I came back to it. And then, obviously, it's evolved massively into things that we use now, Instagram. And do you have an Instagram account?
I I do. I do.
Okay, okay. And things like I'm on Facebook, although I use it very rarely, and I'll explain why.
Yeah.
I'm on Instagram. I use that more. I'm on Twitter. I've never used that really.
Apart from for the young
Yeah, but I
spinners,
mean, also I think we sound like young spinners,
it's definitely not young. It's yarn.
like knitting. Yeah.
Like
Um. No.
because we thought we were being clever. Spin on spinning the yarn. Just
Exactly.
talking.
Exactly. Exactly. So, Facebook not at all really. Instagram a lot. Twitter not really, but only for yarn spinners. I don't know. I don't know what else there is, to be honest with you. I've heard there was a new one coming out for which was a bit like Instagram but without the ads, but you had to pay for it.
Sure.
Now I don't know who would do that.
How about Snapchat?
No, I downloaded it. The first time I downloaded it was for the face filters, the camera filters.
You wanted the bunny ears, didn't
It
you?
was more the angel wings actually, but all right, whatever. Um, yeah. Well, how about yourself? What's your presence? Your social media presence?
So pretty similar to you, really. I do have Twitter, but I mean, I'm not prevalent on it at all, really. I have Facebook. I do go on it, but I very rarely post anything on it unless I want to be controversial or annoying. Um, I have Instagram. Instagram's my. I don't really have a favorite because I'm not a massive fan of social media. I have to say, but Instagram is the one that's more tailored to my sort of browsing. I would say. I I had Snapchat and I thought this is not for
So,
me.
do you think? Obviously, we're a young-ish generation, but by now we're quite an old generation. Um,
Yeah.
I'm 31, going on to 32. I think you're the same.
Yes.
Do you think? Do you look at young kids now and think, "What are you doing? How are you just communicating in emoji? Why are you face snapping yourself all the time?" I sound like my dad, but like,
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I do agree because you see people they go to like natural spots of beauty if you're on holiday, and instead of taking a photo of the area, they take a photo of their face in the area, and I just think, wow, don't ruin the view,
but it kind of
you
goes further
know?
than that, doesn't it? Because musicians had to actively say to their fans, "Can you stop filming us and just enjoy the show?" There was that famous incident of
Yeah,
the guy who was at the Titanic musical. One of the main actors, said, "You are the worst audience that I've ever seen," because I think they were checking the football scores or something.
it was to two individuals in the front row, and they were watching the England versus Colombia penalty shootout. I mean, I can't blame them, but at the same time, that you know that the game's on. If you're that interested in it, don't go to the musical and then ruin everyone else's time. Because
Yeah,
that's not
I
cool.
mean, in general, though, I don't know if I mean, okay, so to give you my brief history of my social media patterns, Facebook I used to use a lot because that's how we just communicated at university. Facebook Messenger came on the scene, and that changed everything because then suddenly we just all started using that as instead of MSN Messenger, which was my default um, way to communicate with my friends when I was at school. Um,
Yeah, yeah. I think that's pretty standard for everyone of our era. But yeah, we went onto Facebook, and that was because we lived on the same campus. That was how we all spoke to each other. It just became the
but we
norm,
still
didn't
we
it?
still had the face to face human interaction. We,
Oh yes, we didn't have a party. I'll bring a can of beers to my room. You take a can of beers to yours, and
yeah,
we'll
yeah.
cyber chat.
I mean, it's
We still had
yeah.
face
I
to
just find
face.
it. I don't know. I think I like Instagram because you can be creative with it. Obviously, you can be creative with Facebook,
Yes,
but I feel Facebook has become so, like, I got rid of about 300 friends on Facebook recently, just because it's
Yeah.
like, it used to be that you just meet someone, you add them on Facebook that night, and then you forget about them.
Yeah, and then you're just
Exactly. And
inundated with their
then
feed.
also, during the Brexit vote, it was very interesting reading through my Facebook feed, because it was all obviously anti-Brexit, um,
Yeah.
and I don't know what I said, obviously, but it was anti-Brexit, and I noticed there was a pattern that I was just inundated with people slamming the Conservatives, people slamming not specifically the Conservatives, but the Brexiteer Conservatives, people slamming Brexit,
Yeah.
people saying why Brexit is bad. I never got the other side. And I realized that that kind of dangerous manipulation of information is probably the same for the other end of the spectrum, i.e., the people that want to vote for Brexit.
You would
And
imagine so, yeah.
of course, you're not going to get a balanced view if you're being fed only one type of thing.
Yeah.
So
I'd agree.
I kind of I stopped. I deleted it from my phone, um, and then I didn't even, I haven't thought about it twice since. I
Yeah,
just sort
I
of
don't
I
have it on
have
my phone.
the web link which I can press whenever I need to. The one thing that I did notice is that my friends
Yeah.
still refuse to use WhatsApp and still use and, and organize most events through Facebook. Um,
Uh,
but so
awkward.
I get some things slightly later than usual, but it's fine. It's fine. I do log in maybe once a week just to see,
Yeah.
but I mostly just go in to see, like, if there's any events coming up. Now with Twitter,
Yeah.
I never really got it. 130 characters. I just didn't know what you had to be concise. Sure, okay, fine, I get it, but at the end of the day, there were just loads of people typing inane things, and I just thought, okay, that's not really what I want to read. So
This is
I
boring.
subscribe to loads of like news channels and
Yeah,
Ricky
yeah.
Gervais because he's hilarious, and other interesting people
Yeah.
people that I find interesting, and that was quite fun. And then
Yeah.
Instagram came on the scene, and that kind of changed it for me because it's not really social media in the traditional sense like Facebook. You don't really communicate with friends. You
No.
kind of It's a nice memory collage of your life and things that you find interesting or funny at the time. It evolved definitely
Yeah.
into stuff that's a bit more, and now you've got things like videos and I think Instagram Live, I think it's called, where you can behind the scenes TV or whatever it's called,
Yeah.
which we will be doing as well, by the way, just so you know, in the near future. Watch this space.
In the near future.
But yeah, it was. I enjoyed it for its quite. I remember taking my first photo in 2011, I think it was, and thinking, wow, this is actually quite cool. All those filters and borders, and that was quite new. Um, but
Yeah.
the interesting thing about filters, right? I always find that we romanticize the filters that make us look retro. Do you know what I mean? Like sepia
Yeah.
filters, that kind
I
of
do.
stuff.
I do. Yeah, and black and white and stuff like
Why do you think that is?
that. Yeah, and black and white and stuff like that. I think I think it sort of romanticizes the image a bit. I think an image is an image, and that's fine. But if you're trying to set a tone or send a message, um, I actually think it taps into people's creativity and artisticness, to be honest. Because if you go into the filters and you adjust all the settings and put the filter on that you want, etc., then you're not just portraying an image; you're portraying it as how you see it and how you feel it should be seen. Do you know what I mean? Because anyone can just go and take a photo, and then that's it, done. But if you edit it how you want to. It becomes more than an image. Then I think it becomes
I
something
find it's more
slightly more
nostalgic,
surreal. I think.
right? It's like it
Yeah.
it gives you a sense that you're in a time that you can't physically be in, just because you can't. Um, I pulled out some stats from 2014, and these are usage stats. So
Yeah.
there's in 2014. So clearly things have moved on. There's 1.3 billion users of
Yeah.
Facebook at that time.
Wow.
284 million monthly users of Twitter, sending 500 million tweets per day. Over 1 billion
Okay.
YouTube users and 6 billion hours of video watched per month. Now, how many
Wow.
hours of that are just cats? That's what I want to know. That is what I want to know. Because I reckon it's actually
If someone
quite a
could
big
find that out
number.
for us, that'd be great. Probably. Yeah. I mean, people just they just have YouTube sessions, don't they? And they go crazy for it, and they just click link after link. It becomes almost like some sort of addiction to them.
It's a YouTube
They got to
spiral,
get their
mate.
YouTube
So,
fix.
have you heard of there's a YouTuber. I think it's comedy of I think it's called Lil Jinx or Lil something like that. Lil Pump. I think it's called Lil Pump.
Right.
Maybe not. Maybe not. I think Lil Pump did.
Right.
I think Lil Pump did Gucci Gang.
I've heard of Little Pump.
Um, anyway, there's basically like this
Right.
kid, and she or he can't really tell because it's prepubescent. Um, yeah, and
Okay. It.
they are
It.
on the video like in a in a Lamborghini with just a stack of cash and just swearing,
Right.
effing and blinding, as being like, "You don't know me, you're just jealous." Um, Absolutely hilarious. But he is an absolute star of YouTube. Like all these people that you think, there's now things
Right.
like Instagram models. There's now YouTube comedians. There's now YouTube actors. Some people are monetizing YouTube now,
Yeah.
so they're getting money going through them through advertising, through advertisements. I mean that kind of thing is
Yeah.
what television was 100 years ago, when everyone thought, it's not going to happen, is it?
Okay.
Ah, come on, it's not going to happen. Television? No, no, no. We just got the radio.
Yeah, we've got the wireless.
It's fine. It's fine.
Yeah, we've got
Whereas
the
now it's
wireless.
completely changed. Things like Netflix is curating television to the point that you don't almost need television. Like I pay for a TV license, but I never stream
Yeah.
anything. I don't have terrestrial television. All I do is I watch Netflix. That's all I do. Talking of
Okay.
Netflix, have you been watching Netflix? Have you been? Do you have Netflix?
I'm on Netflix. I'm part of this society.
Right. So
Yes.
what's your like? What's your best TV show?
Um. Oh. I actually don't know off the top of my head.
Okay.
Dexter. I like Dexter. I like Dexter. To be honest, I'm not much of a TV watcher. I'll tell you what I do watch on Netflix actually
Oh, very nice.
is
Yeah.
Louis
Did you see the
Theroux
one
documentaries.
with Scientology?
Yeah, I like.
Damn.
Yes, yes. I know. I mean, the thing I like about Louis Theroux is he's so English, and that portrays him as almost harmless because he's almost like the epitome of Englishness for me. You know, oh, you've been arrested for drugs. May I ask? May I ask which drugs? Oh, and you don't mind selling these things? He's so harmless in his approach, and yet his documentaries are so hard hitting. Um, yeah, I think he's a genius. Personally, I think he's an absolute jewel in the crown of English television,
One sec, just
alongside David
before we
Attenborough
start going into
and
some
Professor Brian
intellectual
Cox.
things, I've got a video of Lil Tay that we can listen to. Do you want to listen to it? Do you want to listen to it?
You're
Right.
just going to
Okay.
drag it
One
down a
sec.
bit. Go on, let's hear it. Sure.
No, Lil Tay. She's
Just
called
be
the
aware of
youngest flexer.
licensing. I don't know what that means.
I don't know. I don't know
I
what
can't
I'm
hear
watching,
anything.
mate. It was not great. Anyway, um, so you like Brian Cox?
So that didn't work. That failed.
Of course you do. Neil
Yes.
deGrasse Tyson. Okay.
Yep.
So what else do you watch apart from Louis Theroux and science shows? What about like okay, everybody loves Stranger Things.
Yeah, I've watched Stranger Things. That's a cool show. I like it. I like it a lot. I think I like it mostly because it's not modern. Do you know what I mean?
The 80s,
It's a
but
nice
yeah.
throwback to, was it
Okay.
like the 70s?
Wow. It was.
Well, whatever. All right, the 80s. You know,
It's only
kind of,
10 years.
there's
Oh
only a
wait, in the
decade
last
out.
10
It's not that
years,
far.
we had an iPhone invented. So
Okay, calm it down.
okay.
No, I like Stranger Things. Yeah,
Let me
I'm a
tell you
fan.
about what
I
I
do
watch.
like it.
Nah, I'm joking. How to
Russian
eat and
shows.
grow
How
turnip.
to eat turnip.
Yeah. It is a classic, though. You laugh, but it got a foreign Oscar, so don't know what you're on about. Oscar. Yeah. Talking of, as we're talking in a Russian accent, what do you think of this latest Russian nerve
Yeah.
agent poisoning? Do you think they did it?
When you say we, do you mean we the English or we the Russian?
I
Because you
mean,
hold
do you
dual
think the
citizenship?
Russians came here to poison that poor old Russian ex-spy?
I can neither confirm or deny. I have no idea, to be honest. I mean, who can say? People can pass the blame game. I mean, someone could have made it look like the Russians. I don't know. I don't want to have an opinion because I don't want someone spraying my door handle.
It was
when I
quite
come home
close
from
to
work and
where
getting
you
local
lived,
chopped.
wasn't it?
Well,
I mean,
reasonably close. I don't actually. I can't
I
remember
thought
where
it
it
was
was. Where was
somewhere
it?
in Warminster. Well, it was in Salisbury. No, not Salisbury. Where's Stonehenge? Yeah, it wasn't Salisbury. So I was right. Always back
Salisbury.
yourself. Yes. Um,
Okay.
Yeah, so it was in Salisbury first, and then two English people got sick from it as well. Yeah, I just
They
don't
got
know. I
Novichok.
mean, I'd like to think that it was that clear and simple, but why would you make it so obvious? That's what I want to know.
Well, that's exactly
Or is
it,
it a
isn't it?
double
Why would
bluff?
you
Do
make
you
it
make it
so?
so
I don't know.
obvious?
I don't know. Exactly. That's what I was just thinking. Yeah, so obvious that no one would ever think it's you. I don't know. It would be entirely
Okay,
conjecture if I was to
let's
offer
switch
an
this up a
opinion on
bit.
it.
Where do you see social media in the next 10 years? So, in the last 10 years, so 2008, we've had
Yeah,
Facebook blow up, we've had YouTube blow up, we had Twitter invented, because Twitter was supposed to be a messaging app, and then it became a
yeah.
social media platform. That's why it's only 130 characters or whatever it is. Where do you see it going in 10 years?
I think it's
Detailed.
limitless. I well, I mean, I'm trying to think. I mean, where can you see it not going? It's becoming a fundamental part of everyday life. You know, people. I mean, people put up
Guilty.
what they're having for breakfast on social media, and then people set businesses
Guilty.
up and advertise through social media. Um,
Do you think it will end
okay,
up?
I
Sorry.
mean
Do you think it will end up
that's
like? Do you remember
go on.
Wally? Did you watch Wally, the Disney cartoon? Yeah. You know when there
Oh,
were
the
those fat
film,
slobs where
yeah,
like had a screen in front of them. They were fat and they were just being fed
yeah.
information and they communicated with each other through this computer.
That's where I see it going. I remember a few years ago when I lived in Cornwall. I remember having a sort of similar sort of conversation with a friend of mine, and we were saying, I think it was around about the time that the smartphones were starting to come out, and I was saying to my friend, "Oh, it's not going to be long before instead of looking up in the street and passing by your friend, you'll see them sort of ping up on your phone, and you'll send them a message to say, "Oh, hey, just walked past you," rather than looking up and waving at them. I mean, obviously, I said it in jest, but you can do it. You can do that now, and I find that the more connected we get, the more
Yeah.
the less attached we're becoming with each other. Physically, there's going to be, high fives are going to be a thing of the past. It's going to be a
I thought they got
Facebook
rid of
quote.
that.
Do you know what I mean? Um,
I think they got rid of it because
yeah,
of
but it's a
sexual
wave now,
harassment.
isn't it? I think, but
That was a joke. That
yeah,
was a joke.
but it's not going to. I mean, well, it wouldn't have surprised me if it was true, to be honest, and if you were to blame. Um, but it's just, I just see it as, like I said, the more connected we're getting globally, the the less connected we're getting
Because don't you
physically
think it's amazing
with the world and with each
how
other.
technology's evolved into what it is now? I mean, think about it. 10 years ago, smartphones were good. For 10 years ago, they were very good. I remember getting my first 3GS and thinking,
Yeah,
Jesus, this is incredible. I now look at it
yeah,
and I think I've got an iPhone X, right?
right,
So I used to have an iPhone 7.
right. Doc.
So,
Yeah, I need a
and
new phone, by the way.
I now look at
If
my,
you've got
so I've
anything
got
better.
both of them side by side, and I now look at them. I now look at my old iPhone 7 and I think, Jesus, how did I survive on this? Because the X is so good. Like the screen is
Yeah.
unbelievable. And the fact that it takes the whole body makes it incredible. Absolutely incredible. But 10 years ago, my phone was 25% less, but it was amazing.
The
It was
dog's
amazing for
bollocks.
what it was doing.
And it was the
And I
dog's
had
bollocks.
16 gigabytes. I don't know, I think I had
Yeah,
32
yeah,
gigabytes. And now I'm thinking 256 is not
yeah. Well,
enough.
you would.
But think how crazy that is. In 10 years, my pattern of usage
It
has
is. We're
changed.
getting so greedy.
Well, what would it be? To not 24, 18 fold, something like that? It's ridiculous.
Exponentially.
Um,
Yeah,
it's quite
yeah.
not 18 fold. That was really bad maths. It's quite. Well, that's just stereotypical, isn't it? That's racist.
You're Asian, so you should be good at
Um,
maths.
I think it's 8 times.
But if you could quickly figure it out for me, that'd be great.
I do think it's 8 times actually. Yeah. Um, so
Okay.
it's just I do find it incredible at the pace that technology is moving, and who knows what's going to happen with virtual reality, augmented reality. I told you in my first episode that, well, it was mine.
Our first episode.
That I went to this seminar on, or this talk on virtual reality and augmented reality, and I can genuinely see how augmented reality could work. I
Yeah.
can genuinely see how phones will soon become lenses.
So do you think, bearing in mind we have covered this, so do go back and listen. But seeing as you're touching on it now, another question's occurred to me, another sort of scenario. World travel. Do you think that augmented reality and more easily obtained technology would stop people from going on holiday to, say, London if you lived in Birmingham or Leicester or Devon? Do you think instead of going for a day trip to London, which costs a lot of money, you have a virtual reality trip? I mean, maybe not in the technology that we have right now, but you could have, could you see a house developing and having a VR room and say, oh, let's have a trip to London, and it just pops up right in front of
I
you, and you're
think I
walking
think the only
and you're
way
walking
that it
around
can
and
truly
looking at stuff.
replace a real experience is if it replaces and if it adds all the real sensory experiences. So the touch, the smell, the sound.
Yeah.
You can sort of,
Mm. I mean, maybe not the smell,
yeah.
but I
So
mean,
that's
you
that's
could
fine.
easily
That's fine.
implement the
So that's
sound.
done. But things
That's
like
done.
smell and touch is ridiculously important. So say I went to Italy a couple of weeks ago, and the tomatoes
Yeah,
in the southeast of Italy, in Puglia, smell like absolutely nothing else. They actually, like if you had to caricature a tomato smell, that's how they smell. It was unbelievably fresh and just, I can't even describe it.
okay.
So until that kind of technology comes and, and touching things, so it's not just about going and seeing something, you want to touch things like forestry. If you go and or you're stroking a lion, for example, a virtual lion, you want to be able to feel the fur. And I think
Yeah.
that,
I mean, I think that they have done um, sensory input for touch. I mean, it's still obviously in sort of development phases, but I'm sure that I've seen things where you wear like a special glove, and then you can you can rub across a glass surface, and depending on what the electrical input is,
yeah,
you can feel either like bumps or jaggedy, or
yeah.
do you know what I mean? It feels like you're touching sandpaper and
No,
stuff
no,
like
it is,
that.
it is, it
I
is,
mean, at the
and I
end of
think
the
I
day,
think I
it's
think they
all
will
just
get there
electrical
soon.
input. So
Um, but the way that I see it
yeah,
is there'll still be purists, like us in a way. Even though I can see pictures and I can
yeah,
see 4K video um of Paris or Rome or whatever, I still want to go there. I still want to go and I still want to see
yeah,
and I want to eat the food and I want
yeah,
to talk to the people. Exactly. It's more about
and you want to
that than
interact.
just seeing things. I think what it might do for the travel industry, the way that it might revolutionize it, is it becomes open marketing, right? You get a half an hour walk tour guide of Paris or London or a major whatever city you want or
Yeah,
the Amazonian
yeah,
rainforest to get your beak wet slightly, and then you're kind of once you catch that bug and
yeah,
you think, you know, yeah, and it's like, but it's not just that.
yeah.
It's
No, I
about
got you. I got
bungee
you.
jumping
Yeah,
or trialing a skydive, and you think, yeah, yeah, exactly, anything like
or going
swimming
surfing
with the
or
turtles, and you
diving.
think, oh, that would be actually amazing to see live. Because at the end of the day, you do you do like to, seeing is believing, and in a way, just because you see it on television or on a screen, it doesn't half substitute the real experience. For me, anyway, for me. Um, but I think you're right. I think in
Yeah,
some cases, for people who can't afford £1,000 ticket to go to Japan, um, it might substitute. For 200 quid, you can go to Japan for a week. It might get to a point where travel
yeah,
becomes, because we were saying in the first episode that travel opens up your mind and broadens your horizons, um, and that could be one way to educate people.
yeah,
Go and experience living in the Congo with a virtual reality set. You don't have to leave the comfort of your home. You don't have to pay anything. You don't have to get any vaccinations. But
yeah.
you just,
The problem that I'm already foreseeing with this, though, if you cut down the market on traveling abroad, if you go to countries that almost entirely depend on um, the tourism trade, if people are doing virtual reality, do you know what I mean, not leaving their front room, that's really damaging
Well, yes and no.
to
I think you could
communities
monetize it. I
worldwide.
think you could make that. Yeah, because you could, things
Like
like
own the
Paris could
rights
sell
to it.
videos of Paris, could sell Paris experiences, and what you do is as you walk
Yeah,
around, and
yeah,
this is my mind sort of flowing. You walk around a Parisian market, and you see a bottle opener that you like, and you buy it through a virtual
yeah,
experience, and then your
through the internet.
home
Yeah,
3D printer prints it. So you still exchange money to the vendor,
sure.
you still get the product, but you
Yeah,
don't have to particularly go there. And you're still spending money in that economy, and um, you still you're not taking jobs away because it's not like you're not paying that vendor. The vendor of those bottle openers still gets to sell you something. Um, so I think it
sell
could
their
work.
trinkets. Yeah,
I think that's the way that it's going. I mean, it's a bit like with this whole, and we're going to move to swiftly to AI. I was reading an article recently that driverless cars are solving a problem, a demand problem that doesn't exist. So by that I mean what driverless
okay.
cars are doing, or the companies that are trying to invent these cars, no one's clamoring for those cars. No one is saying, "Oh, wouldn't it be great if I could just drive without a
No,
driver?" Why is that an issue?
yeah, yeah. It's a very, very niche market. It's very small. Um, I suppose the only thing that you're doing is you're
I think
removing
yeah,
human
yeah, you're
error.
right.
Um, but the thing is, you're removing human error for one car. Not everyone can afford, and it's going to be a long time before
Well, no,
the
but
general
what they're
public can
thinking is that
afford a
it
driverless
will
car.
become public transport.
Um,
So there'll be buses which will be fully
okay,
automated. So they are always on time. They are rarely late. They work out the fastest route. Blah blah.
I mean these are the things that I disagree with this sort of stuff. Just in a general sort of a socialist view that it's putting people
I
out of
think
work. People's livelihoods.
no,
Not everyone can be astrophysicists
but I
and
think there will
biologists.
be jobs
People
still
like that
in
make
the
the world go
new
round.
world. Um,
I'm sure they will. Of course they will. As as our younger generation grow up, it's you look at their courses now and it's all computer forensics and programming and people learning 4 or 5 different digital languages like
Python.
ASCII and whatever else there is, JavaScript,
I don't know. I don't know. It
or
just sounds
whatever
cool.
that
It
is.
just sounds cool.
In my language, that's a snake.
No, but I think in a way it's. Have you ever seen the film The Minority Report? I think that is the best depiction of
Yes.
near to medium future. You have highly advanced technology, but you're still living in a fairly. It's not a dystopia like Blade Runner, where you're living in the sky because the ground is so
Yeah.
shot, or Fifth Element. You're living in a
Yeah.
world where the cities are highly um, technological, but actually you can still control your car. In that film, he gets into a car and it automatically drives him throughout the city, but you
Yeah.
can take control of it if you want to.
Yeah.
I just think
Yeah.
I think things like the um, tunnels that Elon Musk wants to create. Did you hear that about this one? So he wants to dig a tunnel from LA to San Francisco, I think.
Just a hyperloop.
No, this is slightly different. So the
Just a
Hyperloop is a
hyperloop.
public transport thing. This
Okay.
is a car that you drive in
Okay.
and it lowers you into like on a sled underground, and then it pushes you with magnetic force or whatever it is, um, into from LA to San Francisco, and you can get there in like estimation is to get there in something like 30 seconds. But I mean,
Wow.
that guy is crazy.
Okay.
And to be fair, he is doing it. He set up the Boring Company
Yeah.
to do it. So,
Yeah. 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 I mean, we talked about Elon Musk in one of our previous. I forget which one it is, but there's one of four. So between one and four, we talked about him. Of course, did you see in the news? Just sort of detracting slightly. Did you see? With this the Thai rescue, the cave happenings. He called the
yeah,
one of
I
the
don't really know what
guys
that's about, really.
pedo guy. No, I just thought it was a bit
I thought there's no.
inflammatory.
I don't know what was the point of that, because he the guy, from what I understand, was there saving kids, and he just called him a pedophile. Like, what's the point?
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah. And he betted some guy, didn't he? He said, "I bet you one signed
yeah,
American dollar that is
I
true."
don't really get it. I don't really get it.
And you're like,
It's
"Well,
fine
come
to
on,
be an
mate."
eccentric billionaire who wants to invent cool things, but don't be a dick about it.
Yeah, yeah. Don't call people a paedophile when they're
Yeah,
trying to
I
save
don't really
lives.
get that.
That's not cool, Mr. Musk. And
Oh
and we
mate,
know you listen. We've seen that you
he's
subscribe.
got spies everywhere. So as soon as we say Elon Musk, he knows we're talking about him.
I think
Exactly,
there's a knock on my door, actually.
exactly. But are you worried about automation at all in your field of work?
No, because no one can dig a hole
I
like I
think
can.
JCB, Tom. I
Yeah.
said
No,
I
I hear
think
you.
JCB will
You did
disagree with
cut
you.
out a little bit there. Sorry. Um, well, yeah, they dig big holes though. I dig little ones, lots and lots of little ones.
Local.
But no, I mean, in my do I see? Well, I mean, I have to do a lot of research, and I do the occasional, tinkering with sensitive documents. So I'm not sure. I don't know. Possibly. I'm not too worried about it just yet. I don't think my boss can
But
afford
the
a
thing that
robot
people
just
are
yet, not
missing
to
is
replace
that,
me.
and people should be scared of, is that as soon as it gets a sense of humor, which it requires high intelligence, it will become unstoppable.
Yeah.
And do you think that these robots will tell us that they can take us on? I don't think they will. I think there'll be one toaster who'll be like,
I think.
"Hey guys, hey guys, I think we should tell these guys that we can take over the world." And then like the micro will be like, shut up, Jimmy."
Yeah. And then the toaster will be putting encrypted messages onto our
Help
bread.
me.
Just like. Yeah, just using only certain elements and be like, "Oh, love, the fucking
Shut up,
toaster's
Jimmy. What are
talking
you
to me
trying to
again."
do? Um,
Yeah, get Morphy Richards on
Because
the
I do
phone.
think that at some point they'll become so intelligent that they'll pretend to be dumb and yet still be intelligent. Like that. Facebook did. I'm not sure what it's about. I think it was a chess game or something, and they had two robots playing each other, two artificial intelligent robots playing each other. And at first, they started
Right.
talking in human language, communicating with each other in human language, so like we are now. But then they started making it more efficient,
Yeah.
and then they started like talking in just letters and numbers. Exactly, and so
Okay, so
so
sort
so
of
the
like
guys had to
binary,
stop it. They had to
almost,
shut it down
almost
because they
going.
couldn't
Yeah,
understand it. So within a space of, I don't know, a year, 6 months, a week, however long the program was running, it developed its own language. So they think it could have been just
wow,
random numbers, letters, but to go
random.
from full English language to missing out words to make it more efficient to numbers and letters, it kind of points to higher intelligence.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Well, either that or insanity.
Yeah, I'm not sure about insanity. I mean, sure, why not? But it just seemed. Here we go. I brought up so Facebook's artificial intelligence robots shut down after they start talking to each other in their own language. Um,
Yeah. I mean, that's scary. That's scary to me. I do. I, maybe I've watched too many sci-fi films, but it does terrify me a little bit. That the technology is getting so advanced, and you look at how smart some of these things are. I mean, look at Google Assistant, for
oh
example. I,
my
I
God,
watched the like the keynote speak for Google Assistant, and it and
in a
it and it
human
was
voice.
like making reservations for people, and
That's
in
the
a
crazy
human
thing.
voice with human inflection and human tone, and the people couldn't differentiate between her and a computer and a
Well, I
simulation.
mean,
I
but
just
but
called
that
it
was
her.
crazy. Okay, I
It.
mean, I don't know if it was
I
a
mean, that
real
was impressive.
simulation or not, but it was hooing, it was and it was
It was pretty
yeah,
fucking good.
okay. It was unbelievable. But anyway, just to read you an excerpt from this article. So Facebook
Yeah.
abandoned an experiment after two artificially intelligent programs appeared to be chatting to each other in a strange language only they understood. So Bob and Alice were the two computers, and they said, "I can, everything else." And then Alice said, "Balls have zero to me, to me, to me, to me." So it looks like gibberish, but there appears to be some rules to the speech that they were using.
Yeah.
So they were stressing their own name, um, which doesn't seem to be a glitch. So they would say Bob and they would say Alice, um, but they concluded, they were talking to each other. They were ending sentence. It was just really strange. Really, I would really. What do you think of like sex robots?
Yeah.
Do you think they'll
Scary.
replace? Do you think prostitution will become legal through sex robots? Do you think that's a good thing?
Uh, I mean, I think the Netherlands have shown us that prostitution should be legal anyway. I mean, people are going to do it one way or the other, so why not regulate it and make it safer for everyone and generate more
Well,
income
the
for the
the,
uh,
the
for the
Aussies
for the
they
country?
legalized it, so they
Um,
set up brothels, and exactly, and
yeah, and
divorces
everyone gets
fell
health
by like
checks and
200%.
and yeah, I think it's great.
Wow.
Personally, I mean, I've never used a prostitute, and I'm not sure if I ever will. But but never say never. I might see you in a window one day and think he's the one for me. Um,
No, no, but you find Bob
I
attractive,
won't
so it's
because I
fine.
don't find you very attractive. Um, but I mean, I've always been of the opinion that I mean, just think of
But
the
that should be
crime
that should
rate
be
that
the
would
same
reduce and
for
the amount of pressure on police.
all
You know,
drugs as well. I think they should just legalize it and control it and tax the shit out of it because it would still be cheaper. It's like weed. What is wrong with legalizing weed? I really don't get it. You're not gonna
nothing in
you're not
my
gonna
eyes.
start smashing up windows if you're high.
But heroin.
You could not care about it. Well,
What
well,
about
they've so
heroin
they
though? Can't
decriminalized
not really
heroin in
cool to legalise
Portugal,
that, is it?
right? And what happened then is that
Right?
the heroin addicts are heroin addicts. You can't stop them. But what happened is that they've now gone to these special clinics that they can take heroin. It's controlled. It's checked for pureness, for purity, to make sure that it's not laced with anything nasty in it. It's got that they use
Right.
hygienic needles. The AIDS rate has decreased, I believe. It kind of it's one of those things that if they
Okay.
legalized heroin tomorrow, I'm sure that 60% of the people, at least 50% of the nation, is not going to go, you know what, I'm going to try heroin. Do you know? But you know what I mean? It's like, okay, if they legalize cocaine, I'm not going to say, you know what, I really wanted always to try, and I might try because I heard it's really fun. Is cocaine? I just wouldn't do it. Like they said, weed is a gateway drug. I went to Amsterdam, smoked some weed, came back, and I didn't think, you know what, I now want something harder because that was so good. That experience alone was so
Yeah.
good that I don't want anything
Yeah.
harder than that. Like, what's your opinion? Do you want to try things like ecstasy and
Sure.
how like Silicon Valley guys are they're micro dosing ecstasy to keep to keep their minds and creativity open.
Uh, I probably would, to be honest. I would try. I would try it in a controlled, manufactured dose, because I like to see things from a different perspective. Yeah, I would try it. I'm not sure if I would try heroin or crack or meth or anything like that, because I don't think that would do very much for me apart
But
from
then,
make me an
but the other
addict.
thing is like I
Um,
can't.
but yeah, I
I
mean,
tried,
go
and I
on.
know that each case is and every case is different. But I don't know many people who can't function without weed or who can't function without mushrooms or ecstasy.
Right.
Obviously, highly addictive substances like heroin is different, but once you must have smoked
Yeah.
some weed, right, sometime in your life. You don't feel like you need to have it every day.
Yeah. I've never felt like that. I've smoked it a few times, and I've never thought. Do you know what I mean? I've never woken up the next day and gone,
But
"Oh,
what about
what would really
cigarettes?
sort me out as a spliff? That'd get me going."
Okay,
Well,
because
it's the
I
same
can
principle.
admit
I
that
can
I'm
take it or
addicted to
leave it.
nicotine. But I think more than that, I'm addicted to the
Okay.
process of getting a cigarette out, lighting it up, smoking, blah blah blah, doing it while I'm drinking.
Right.
And this is the other thing. I'm pretty sure that if cigarettes and alcohol were released onto the market today, they would be legal. And I'm pretty sure that's not a controversial view to say. I'm pretty sure that if alcohol was never found until now, was never discovered until now, and they put it to the market, I don't think it would pass any tests.
Yeah.
Highly addictive, highly damaging, and with the case of
Yeah.
Amy Winehouse, she got addicted to alcohol so much that she died from a lack of it. Apparently, I don't know, but the story goes is that you
Right.
actually die
Okay.
from not. If you're a hardcore alcoholic, the effects of withdrawal can
Yeah.
lead to death, which is scary, right?
I mean, that's
So
crazy.
basically, once you become an alcoholic, you have to
Very.
keep drinking in order to survive. In order for your, because I think what happens is,
I
um,
mean,
I don't know biologically specifically, but your heart must give out, or something happens to your liver. But it's like if you bring alcohol now, having
yeah.
studied it in rats and whatever, I think what you'll find is that it gives you huge health issues. You put on weight like nobody's business.
Of
Your
course.
liver gets shot to bits. You
Yeah.
become addicted.
Well, and the the mental part of it as well. Just being inebriated. I mean, reaction
Aggression.
time being reduced dramatically. Visual impairment, aggression. Um, you know, a lack of self control. You know, it's got
Exactly. And the
"Don't
only
fucking
reason why we
touch me"
can't
written all over it,
get
hasn't
rid
it?
of it is because it's been used by humans for the last ever since anyone could walk. Yeah, ever since anyone could walk, and
Time in memoriam. Yeah.
ever since anyone took some berries into their mouth that were rotting and thought, Jesus, this is nice. Because essentially that's what wine is. It's gone
Yeah.
off grapes. Um,
Yeah.
so it's
It's
crazy that
fermented grapes. Yeah.
I think we're going in the right direction. I mean, if you think about how they can monetize weed and control the spread of it and control the strength. I went to Italy as I mentioned. I'm a traveler. Um, oh,
You've
weird
been
that.
to
No, but
Italy.
in Italy
You've been, have
they've
you? Oh,
just
I didn't know.
legalized marijuana. But the way that they legalized it is that you can smoke
Okay.
marijuana. You can buy marijuana in dispensaries, but they have to be regulated for the strength of T TCP. There we go. Is it TCP? THC.
TCP. I think
I
so.
was going to say
Oh, THC. Yeah,
probably
TCP
not.
is the
Probably not.
fucking antiseptic,
But so
isn't
yeah,
it?
so they regulate the strength of the THC level in the marijuana plant. So you can buy full buds, um, but they have to be something like between zero point 0.1 and 0.5% maximum. So you get relaxed and you get a bit of a high, but
Right.
you don't go completely mental. Yeah. But off the rails in weed terms is
Off
like,
the
I don't
rails.
know, you
Yeah.
exactly. And you might have
Fuck
eaten
me.
good.
Sat down for 3 hours.
But like I
Yeah.
think that's a great way to legalize it.
Yeah.
Bring that kind of thing to it because it's why not? Why not?
Yeah. It's very clever.
Yeah, I mean, I
Yeah.
don't know. It just
Yeah.
seems like
I
such
agree.
a wasteful thing. The war on drugs in the states has claimed so many lives that. Um,
Oh, and it
exactly.
gives so much power to the gangs and to you know to well people
Well,
who
yeah.
aren't living a legal life essentially. I mean, look how much money Pablo Escobar generated,
Well,
and the
I was
power
just
that he
going to say that
generated from
if they
drugs.
regulated cocaine, and I mean they didn't have it at that time, but if they regulated cocaine, Pablo Escobar wouldn't have been as rich. He wouldn't have been anywhere near as rich. Yeah, exactly,
Oh,
exactly. But
the government would have though. Better
talking
infrastructure
of the government,
and
right? So I
less
believe it's
taxes.
Colorado where they legalized weed. They gave back 5% of everyone's tax
Right.
as a tax rebate because they made so much money from marijuana.
Wow. And that doesn't surprise me at all. And that's decent. That's nice. That's nice to see because taxpayers, especially in England, I don't feel like we get enough bang for our buck really. I know we do in terms of the NHS and stuff like that because obviously a lot of us take our free healthcare for granted, but a lot of it goes on social welfare and people who try and trick the system and mince around on crutches, but really they don't need them. Not everyone, but there's a few of them. There's quite a few of them. You've seen them in a town near you,
The funniest
usually
version of
complaining.
that was after the Brexit vote. They were doing loads of interesting interviews with people, and people were changing their minds, and people were saying this and that. But one of them was that somewhere in the Midlands,
Yeah,
they were talking to this woman, and they were saying, "Why did you vote? Did you which way did you vote?" She said Brexit, and it was, well, why did you vote that way?
I don't think she said
For
Brexit. I
those of
think she
you
said
who don't know,
Brexit.
Tom is a master of accents. I think your next challenge is to finish the podcast in a Brummy in an accent of your choice.
Okay,
Okay.
we'll do it. But go on,
So,
make your point. Yeah, okay. Brexit. I've started you
so,
off. How
so
did you
she said
vote?
Brexit, and then
Brexit.
they said why, and she said, "Well, because I'm sick and tired of these foreigners coming in and taking the jobs that we could have." And and they said, "Oh, so
Shall I
what do you
translate?
do?" She said, "I'm a stay-at-home mum."
So no one's taking my job, you know. Oh, I'm so sick of foreigners coming and taking our jobs and stuff, you know. What do you do, madam? Stay at home mum. I'm
But
just
that's the crazy
terrified, you
thing. So
know.
anyway, I think let's legalize marijuana, and UK is moving in the right direction for that. They've said that they would. One of the prominent Conservative MPs has said that maybe it's time we should look at because after the cannabinoid oil, I don't know if you saw that a kid who was having seizures, his mom was giving him cannabis oil, which
Yeah,
kind of relaxed him and took away
yeah,
the seizure, the severity of the seizures. And then the government made it illegal, and she
yes,
fought for it, and she got it back. But one of the prominent MPs said maybe we should look at legalizing marijuana altogether, or have a look at re-examine the marijuana.
yeah. At least have a new sort of cabinet of people look at it who are impartial, who haven't had a look at the evidence yet, rather than just
Well, but you can
rehashing it
see
with the
that
same
in
people and
Amsterdam.
then
You can
coming out
see
to the
that
same
in Italy
conclusion.
now. Um, in Amsterdam, they've started to there's no one. It's one of the most peaceful cities that I've been to. No one is kicking off. There's no such huge stink in the
Yeah,
air that makes it sickly for people to walk around in. And I've recommended cannabinoid
yeah.
oil to my mum. Um, CBD cream
Okay,
because I've heard a lot of very good reviews about it. It doesn't get you high, so it doesn't have
okay.
the THC in it. It's just got some kind of oil. Which what are you doing?
Yeah,
Sounds like you're eating a Mars bar
I'm
again.
sitting here listening to you. I just had to quickly
I
swallow
knew
it
it.
because
Fat man strikes again.
I'm not eating
Oh, it's
anything.
really
I'm literally
disgusting.
lying here on my bed listening to you.
Obviously. Yeah. So
Naked.
enough of that. Enough of that. Enough of that.
In case
Legalize
in case you've
marijuana.
never met me, that's hot for you.
Make it all legal. Control it. Legalize it. Tax it. Yeah. Let us know your opinions on it. I think.
Let us know your opinions on it. Where do you stand? Because it's a highly controversial view. Do you think I think we should do it. I think we should get a petition going
Well, I was going to
and
say.
get
I
all these
think a
old
lot of the
fuddy duddies
majority
to
of
think in a different way.
the younger generation, and I mean 1980s onwards, don't see a problem with it. I think the 1970s don't
Yeah,
see a problem with it. To
yeah.
be honest with you, people born in 19 not aged 1970, that would be ridiculous. Um, so anyway, renewable energy. This was another topic that I wanted to talk about because,
We might as well briefly
well,
get it in
there's no
there
time
because
limit on this,
we're over the
Tom.
hour mark. But
There
sure,
is
let's
no
go.
time limit on this. Renewable energy. What are your thoughts since you're a big environmentalist?
I am 100% behind it. I recently had a keyboard fight with
Well,
someone
hopefully not. It wasn't
over the
a
internet.
music show off.
We weren't beating each other with Yamahas. No, we weren't. It wasn't a showdown in a music shop. It was, keyboard warrior style. She had her opinion, I had mine. So I saw a post. So basically, I saw a post which was saying that apparently, according to the BBC, half of the youth of today want electric cars, and I thought
But wait a
that's
second.
incredible. I thought that's brilliant. So I
What's wrong with
commented on
that?
it. This
Let
is
me hear
brilliant.
the woman's
Blah
point
blah
of view.
blah. So the woman's point of view was saying this is all well and good, but they think it's, and this is in commas, they think, well, sorry, inverted commas, they think that they're being green, but really all they're doing is reducing the emissions from a car and increasing the emissions from power manufacturing and generation. So she thought that just because you're not buying fuel, as in like petrol or diesel, you're still having to charge your car
Using
and
non-renewable
use
sources.
fuel from, the yeah. And she was saying, you got to get you have to get the elements for the battery, like lithium, and you have to mine for it and all this, that, and the other. But my argument was, okay, it may not be a perfect sort of thing right now. It might not be 100% brilliant, but it's a stepping stone in the right direction. It's almost as if saying to the Wright brothers, that'll never work and it's a waste of time. Give it up. Oh, right then. But I mean, look how far that, the first aeroplane has come. It's now the safest and most efficient form of transport. So for me, just trying to shoot something down in its infancy is not, it's not logical. I mean, how are you supposed to advance if you can't
Yeah, I
develop the
agree.
technology?
I agree. I hear that argument all the time. My argument to that is yes, okay, fine. So, but what about the emissions that they prevent from cars? Wouldn't that?
Yeah, that was my point. That was my point as well. I said that. I said, what's the alternative then? Just have the power factories and the cars putting emissions out, or eradicate the cars and get rid of some of the emissions, even if it's 10% or
But
5%.
also,
That's
the
still
five
5%
percent
less.
less
That's
would
that's a
surely
win.
counteract some of the emissions that cars would create in the meantime. And also, as technology gets better, because like Elon
Yeah,
Musk, when Australia had that issue with their energy after I think it was a typhoon or something, he built
yeah.
I think it was a
Power station.
solar powered power station. If I'm not mistaken. I don't know. Whichever way.
I think it wasn't it electromagnetic. It was a beast. It was a beast, and he said,
Yeah.
if I don't complete it within X amount of days, you can have it for free.
So he created a giant
He did it in the
battery.
time and got paid for it. Um,
Uh,
yeah, a giant battery, and it powers thousands of homes. Yeah, I mean that just shows that
yes.
he's doing the same for Costa Rica, I believe.
No.
I'm sure he's doing the same sort of thing for Costa Rica. I mean, how can you not want to get behind it? Even this lady was saying, what about the batteries? You still have to dispose of them. Yes, you do, but the batteries are becoming so much more efficient. You don't have to throw them all. It's not like acid batteries in a car where you throw it away after 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
These things are
Yeah.
lasting 80 years. They're lasting a lifetime. So,
If you
and,
invest.
and they're only going to get better, but they can only get better if if you A, invest, and B, put them out for public consumption, because then you have backyard scientists who develop things in their own rights, and youngsters get involved in it, and they become involved in science, and then they're the next ones who come up with this genius idea of how to make a battery
So the
more
way that
efficient and then last
I'm just reading
160
about
years
this
instead of
now, I think the
80.
way that it gets its energy from the lithium-ion batteries is from wind energy. So
Okay.
what the turbines do is they create the energy. That energy stores, energizes the lithium-ion battery, which then releases that energy once it gets to a certain level. I think that's how it
Yeah.
works. Which is, again, it's
Okay.
why wouldn't you do that? Why wouldn't
I mean,
you do that?
yeah, exactly. Even if it does have some environmental impact, I mean,
Massive.
it's still a step in the right direction. You know, it still cuts down on emissions, and it's still it puts us one step closer or 1% closer to being more energy efficient. I mean, we've already proven that England can run for a day or two at a time without any fossil fueled plant. We've done it. So it's just making it more applicable, isn't it?
So
And putting it into the mainstream and getting it out there, getting people involved in it. And I said to her, one of this woman, one of the things that she said was, "I've driven electric cars and they are fun, but I still prefer petrol." And I thought, well, primarily, the idea of an electric car isn't really for your enjoyment so much as
where was she
not
from?
fucking up the environment.
Okay, okay.
Oh, Devon,
No,
Torbay.
fair enough.
But I
What was
won't say
her
her name
counter
because I
argument
didn't pay
when you
attention to
said,
it. But
saving energy, investment makes it more efficient? What was her argument to you, or did it stop?
her argument was, I'm 100% behind it, but my passion is
Okay, but you can
regenerating
still do that with an
old
electric
cars.
motor. She does know that, right?
So not well, yeah. I don't know what she does and doesn't know. By this point I was spitting feathers, so I had to walk away because some people just don't want
Yeah,
to.
yeah, no, I agree.
Some people just don't
I
want to
think
change. They
it's
don't want to learn. They don't want to know.
I think it's more of a generational thing. I think. Oh, really?
I believe she is our
Okay, okay.
generation.
Well, anyway, I
Yeah,
was driven in Tesla once, and it is incredibly fun. And the fact that it's fun and it saves the planet,
yeah.
it's fine by me. But everyone's got their own
What's not to
thoughts and
love?
opinions on that, which is fair enough.
What's your thoughts on
I think that
renewables? Where do you see it going, and what's
yeah,
your
of
take
course.
on it? If someone offered you an
It's
electric car, would you
why
take
wouldn't you?
it?
You're saving so much cash because you're not having to use petrol and
Yeah,
pay road tax, and your insurance is
pay road
probably
tax.
cheaper. I want to say I don't know, but it's first of
Possibly,
all, as
yeah.
you said, it's not really about it being cheaper or it being more fun. I think those are bonuses. I think the primary reason is that you help the environment. You don't. You're a net contributor rather than a net. I mean, you might not be a net contributor, but the net effect of you driving an electric car is probably less usage of fossil fuel energy than if you did drive it. So why wouldn't you do it?
Yeah,
If there was someone that made solar panels more efficient and cheaper, I think everyone would have them. Same for wind energy.
yeah,
I think if someone made it more efficient and be able to produce as much energy, I think there's no reason why you can't use both. And with time, and you can see it happening because now the big companies like BP and Shell are investing in renewable energy, which is great to see because they're the biggest producers of fossil fuel energy. I think it's only a good thing that these companies are looking
yeah.
into actually investing in renewable sources, and that's good. It shows that we're on the right track, and it shows that we are not the early adopters, but we are the early acceptors. Acceptors, is that a thing? Not
Yeah.
trendsetters because we're not doing anything, but we're
Trendsetters.
accepting that it can work. I mean, I don't have a car, as you know. You have a car,
Yeah,
um, as I know, and
I
I
do know.
think
As you
if you
know.
had the 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 financial resources to buy a Tesla, you would.
Oh, definitely, 100%. And everyone that I've spoken to that's ever driven a Tesla, they're like, "I love it. I want one." And I want one. I was in California a couple of years ago. I was in Stanford at the mall, and they had a Tesla shop, and you could go in there and you could sit in either one of the two models that they had at the time. And I remember getting into it and thinking, number one, I'm quite a big guy, so number one, I got in there and I was like, wow, leg room in abundance here. This I could get used to this. And then it was so beautiful and clean on the inside, and the screen was beautiful, and then you turn it on and you can't hear anything. There's no engine noise.
Yeah,
I just think they're great.
I think overall, it can't be a bad thing, right? I mean, the fact that it's expensive, yeah, fair enough. It's not attainable for everyone,
No.
but at the end of the day, it's
Yeah,
yeah, exactly. And the more people buy it,
it will be one day, as all things are. Do you know what I mean? Like my nan, she was telling me a few weeks ago about like we discussed earlier, when they got their first TV. She was one of the first people to have a TV in, like, our family and all their friendship groups and stuff. And she said, not everyone could afford one, so people would come round and watch the one channel. I think the first broadcast was someone playing the violin, and I mean, that must have blown their minds, and it must have blown the bank account. Do you know what I mean? But slowly and surely, it overcame the haters, and it replaced the wireless as the main sort of media family hub. And now look at them. Do you know what I mean? I think that the person who said, everything that has been invented or ever will be invented has been done. I mean, he must be eating his
yeah,
words.
I think whoever said that hasn't lived in our age.
Yeah. I think we probably haven't even invented 1% of everything
No, and I think
that ever will be invented.
it's a good thing because we've got loads of things to look forward to, and I look forward to seeing them. The only thing that is kind of sad in a way is that you don't get to see what it's going to be like in 100 years. Because I think it's going to be amazing.
That does make me sad. I actually often think of that outcome, and I think, oh, wouldn't it just be great to be like Futurama, just a head in a jar for a
Like
while?
Nixon.
Just for like 1,000 years and see what's going on. If you don't, yeah, just like Nixon. Yeah, it would be great. It's sad that we won't see everything that will be
Yeah.
done, but
Listen, when is
it is what
when
it
is
is, and I
your
will be reincarnated.
veterinary scientist girlfriend going to be on this show?
I'm thinking either this,
Okay.
possibly this week or next week, and then we
Okay.
go
So a
away
little
for a little while.
hiatus
We're
on the
going to
yarn
Greece.
spinners.
So, well, I don't know. Maybe
Yeah.
if I've got an evening, I might slide in a quick one.
And the
Podcast,
biblical
that is.
term. Don't worry about it.
So we'll see. But we've still got a few. We'll probably be on sort of episode what we're on now, 5. So we'll probably be on episode sort of 12, I would say, or 13 by the time that I'm going away. So if she hasn't featured by then, I'm going to go downstairs in a moment and have a chat with her and see what she wants.
Yeah, because I think it's animal welfare is a
I'm going to
huge thing at the
interview her.
moment. Obviously, there's not only the push towards vegetarianism and veganism. There's also general animal welfare of how exotic animals are being wiped from this face of the earth, as well as dogs who are being bred to a point that they literally, yeah, exactly.
Unrecognizable and suffering awful physical.
So it'll be interesting to get her view on where she sees that going, because there's obviously loads of trends on things like teacup pigs and dogs, tiny dogs, and all that kind of stuff. I don't even know what that is, but
bonsai kittens and stuff like that.
Enjoy it.
Google it.
Okay. Is it not great?
I hope you don't enjoy it. Don't enjoy it.
Okay. No, it's good. It's good. Well, listen, buddy, I think we should end it there. It's been about an hour and 20. Do you want to tell our listeners where they can reach us?
Yeah.
All right, yeah.
Shall I tell them in a lovely Scottish accent? All right, you lovely people. I hope you're listening. So basically, like, what you can do is go to Twitter. You can type in yarn spinners, That is Yarn Spinners 1, the digit, not the literal writing. You'll find us, give us a wee tweet and a follow. And do the same on YouTube. Go on there, find us, subscribe, listen to the videos, write a little comment, like it, don't like it, whatever. If you don't like it, if you do like it, let us know either way. And of course, you can be really archaic about it and send us a wee email at yarnspinnerspodcast at
Beautiful.
gmail.com.
Absolutely beautiful. Anyway, guys, it's been real. I love doing this, so hopefully we can get more fans so we get to do this for other people because I think we're damn interesting.
I think we're fucking
Anyway,
amazing.
it's been real. It's Dimitri Williamson here. Excellent. And we are the Unspinners. Cheers.
And Tom Knight here. Peace.